Conklin and Company with 13 ABC Action News anchor Lee Conklin. First with what's happening behind the headlines. And Take 3, our panel of political analysts.
Morning, everybody. Welcome into another edition of Conklin and Company. Different kind of show today. We're going to veer from the playbook, so to speak. No Take 3, no politics. And it will get a little bit personal a little bit later on. So please allow me that. A show of about spirit, of community, a community that really gives so much here in Northwest Ohio. The power of social media as well. Also on the show today, a young man giving back to his community. Professional athlete who starred for the UT Rockets, hasn't forgotten Toledo, far from it. Bruce Gradkowski on his life off the football field, business owner, husband, future father, and current 13 ABC All-Star. But first, if you saw the news this past week or two, or looked online, read the newspapers, you may know part of the story involving our first guest. We first introduced you to Josie Langsdorf about a week and a half ago. 40-year-old Monclova mom of two, non-smoker, diagnosed 2 years ago with lung cancer. And after numerous surgeries, intensive treatment, prognosis, to be honest, is not good. So Josie, facing the inevitable, has a bucket list like so many who deal with cancer. And it involves that guy from the reality show, Keeping Up with the Kardashians. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more in depth. But first, we welcome in our guest to Conklin and Company, Josie Langsdorf.
Thank you so much for having me, Lee.
Good to see you again. And to be honest, I know Josie. She lives in the Anthony Wayne community, where our family reside as well. And thanks for coming on.
Thanks so much.
It has been a whirlwind couple of weeks for you.
It has. Crazy.
But first of all, non-smoker some 2.5 years ago, living what you think is a really good life, clean life,
right.
Two beautiful children, and you're diagnosed with lung cancer.
Shocking.
So kind of, shocking. Take us through that how that all came to be. Explain.
Well, actually, it was about 2 years before I was even diagnosed. I was having severe chest pain, and it would come and go, but when I'd have it, it would last for days. And I went to the emergency room. I'd been to doctors, and I appeared overall healthy. Mm-hmm. I was a non-smoker, no high blood pressure, diabetes, nothing. So.
And you look great now too.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I had to clean myself up today. But so I worried, or I think they thought that it was nothing. They told me I had heartburn or GERD. And so finally I went one day because it was when I started to go up the stairs, I could see I would get winded. And I thought, something just isn't right. So I went back to the doctor and I told her, I said, with all due respect, something is wrong with me. And she said, you do sound very winded. Sent me for an x-ray, called me and told me I had pneumonia. And I was like, how could I have had pneumonia for 2 years? I've had this pain and So she said, what would make you feel better? And I said, well, you tell me, there's something wrong. Mm-hmm. So they sent me for a CT scan, and that's when it all started. They 2 to 3 weeks after the CT scan, I was diagnosed with lung cancer. And it was shocking because I didn't smoke. And I was under the impression that you only got it if you smoked. And that is not true. Anybody that has lungs can get lung cancer. And I was told I was inoperable, that I didn't have long. And I went down to Columbus, to OSU, to the James Cancer Center there. And they told me the same thing. I was inoperable, but we could try some aggressive chemotherapy and radiation, see if we can shrink it enough to remove it, because the tumor was wrapped around my pulmonary artery. So that's what the pain was. It was cutting off my blood flow. So 2 months later, after aggressive chemo and radiation, they were able to remove my entire left lung.
And said
I'd be fine, because I only had the one tumor. It appeared I was cancer-free and everything would be well. And to be honest, I didn't even know you could live with one lung. I didn't even know that. But the fortunate thing for me was I wasn't a smoker, so my right lung was healthy.
You figure you're good there,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
So to be honest, even today, I don't even know I have one lung. I can't even tell a difference. But it's not like I'm working out or anything. So I haven't worked out in 2 years. But so anyways, I ended up developing a massive infection from the surgery. I had a fistula, and that resulted in another 13-hour surgery to repair that. I ended up bouncing back from that okay. Appeared the cancer was still gone.
And you think you've licked this now?
I
right?
did. I thought, I'm back.
Yeah, the chemo, the surgery, another surgery, and you're okay.
Yep, I'm going to be fine, and life's going to go on. And 6 months after that, I found out that it had spread to my bone, and it was in my leg in the pelvis area. And that's when the journey kind of all started again. So since then, I have now found in September of last year that it's now in 5 places. And to be honest, the point I'm at now is, what do I do? Do I go back to the aggressive chemotherapy again in hopes that a miracle happens? Or do I continue to live this bucket list and
day to day,
and
do what you want to do.
Right. And it's a tough, tough decision. I have 2 girls, and of course, I don't want to give up. And I don't want people to think of it as that's the way I'm looking at chemotherapy, because that isn't it. But my thought is, I know that it's no longer curable. And so do I continue to do chemo and hope I get better and be sick and suffer the side effects of that and kind of stop living?
And we hear that so much from people with advanced stages of cancer after round.
Yes, and I've tried. That's the thing. If I definitely am not telling anyone to not do that, because you should. And I think everybody
Fight to the end.
You should. But then you get to a point where you realize maybe it's not going to happen for me.
Here you are, so young, and a beautiful family, and so you decide, okay, there is a bucket list. You get it. And that's where the social media, the power of social media comes in. And if you've followed this story in the last couple of weeks, it is nothing short of incredible.
It's crazy.
First of all, I need to ask you about, for the folks who haven't seen Keeping Up with the Kardashians, this reality show about Bruce Jenner and his wife and their family and their molded family, their mixed family, and it's one of the wackiest shows you'll ever see. It really is. Because I don't know what anybody does on the show except drive really expensive cars, eat lunch at nice cafes, and live in beautiful homes. And but that's a great generalization of Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
Yes.
But there's a gentleman on there who's kind of the antagonist. He is an agitator. He can be a jerk sometimes, right? His name is Scott Disick, and sometimes he's funny though, right?
Yes, he is.
Yeah. And on a whim, you decided what?
Well, one night I had said to when I got sick again, I thought, you know what, I'm going to just live my life. I'm going to make a list of things that I want to do before I pass. And some of them are never going to happen, and some of them hopefully will. Some of them are very simple things, but some aren't. So I was watching a commercial. My daughter and her girlfriend were watching a commercial one night, and it was for the new season of the show starting. And he jumps into the back of the pool holding a glass, and he yells,
Scott
yes,
does, right?
And he yells, I'm going to live this life to the fullest. And he jumps in the pool with his drink. And I said to Ashley, I said, I need to have a drink with that guy. I said, look at him. He's like me. He's just going to live this life. So she goes, I'm going to tweet it, Mom. And it was kind of a joke. And she goes, Mom, like a few minutes later, she goes, I got 5 retweets. I said, is that good?
Boom.
She goes, that's great. So a little bit later, she's like, Mom, I'm at like 74. I said, what? And then
Here comes the snowball.
So the big joke was, are you going to get to 100? And then, it just went crazy. She woke me up at 4 in the morning and said, Mom, you're trending. I'm like, what is trending? I didn't have a Twitter. I do now. But I had no idea. And it just went crazy. And 2 nights later, I get a phone call at 4 o'clock in the morning from a friend of mine. She goes, I'm really sorry to wake you up, but he tweeted back. So I, of course, jump up, and it just so happens my daughter, her girlfriend that she tweeted with at night, and my other daughter are all in bed with me because we had went to the Anthony Wayne basketball game the night before, and we wanted to watch the news and stuff in bed all together. So we were all in my bed together. So I woke them up at 4 in the morning. They're jumping up and down on my bed. We all got our computers. We all got, looking on our phones, and sure enough, I went into my private messages, and he had sent me a private one there.
So we'll condense this if we can a little bit, because it is television. It's a half-an-hour program. But this happened very, very quickly.
Very quickly.
So this past Tuesday night, there's a big party at the Langsdorff home, and look who's there.
Scott Disick. Yes.
So he swooped in with the E crew, right?
Yes, he did.
Did you have any problem with them shooting that?
Oh my gosh, they were the nicest people. I've been talking to the producer, and he is super kind, very nice, and it all worked out perfectly. They were really good to me. They told me invite some friends, and
you did.
And I did.
A lot of familiar faces there.
Yes. I invited the people that have kind of been helping me through this journey because it's tough, and you need support. So that's been, it was really good to share it with them.
It's the people who give to you, who lift you up.
That's right.
And this is where the personal part comes in. This is where I'll talk about this here, and I hope you'll allow me this. You mentioned the basketball game, and it was a couple of weeks ago that everybody wore orange. Is that your favorite color?
Yes, it is.
And there were banners that said Team Josie, right?
Yes.
And this is going to be difficult for Conklin here, but there were also banners for Jake Conklin, who was diagnosed about a month and a half ago with stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma. And so he's battling this as we go. So we saw the power of the Anthony Wayne community giving back in every way. You all right? I'm all right? You're going to be okay?
I know, but I just know what you're going through, and it is. It's not fun.
So this is a way for, I think, for both of us to say thank you.
Absolutely.
To the
Absolutely.
Anthony Wayne community.
They're a great community.
Really amazing.
They are, and there's truly some really good people there, and they care, and they want to do. I talked with you a little bit about this. I think you feel so helpless, and you don't really know what's the right thing to say. Because when I heard about Jake, I immediately thought, oh my gosh, I have to, because I remember this, and I don't know if you even know your wife did this, but when I was ill, your wife brought me food over. And I remember that. And I knew you, but I didn't know you that well. And I never forgot that. And that ran through my head immediately when I heard about Jake. I was like, oh my gosh, she came and brought me food and thought about me. And
well, this is about everybody giving back to everybody. So, and this goes for beyond the Anthony Wayne community.
Yes.
This is about Northwest Ohio, the way the spirit of our community here. So, to everyone, my son will beat this. He's strong. He's young. It's just going to be a long haul.
It is.
He's going through the regiment right now. So, our best to you every day.
I appreciate that. Same to you.
You know, I'm glad you came on. We were able to talk about this in more than sound bites.
Yes.
And we thank you for letting us share the story with our Conklin & Company audience.
Thank you very much.
All right. When we come back in just a minute, somebody giving back to our community. We'll be back in just a minute.